Friday, and welcome to Morning Joe with me, Jim. Hope you've got your coffee and ready for a good into the week and a good entrance to the weekend. I hope you have good plans for that. And if your plans include looking for a house this weekend, let's talk about that for a minute because there's a changing housing market going on right now. So, where do I get that? Well, I get that all over the place, but I found this Twitter thread. Twitter's my new favorite social media, I think, and it's from Glenn Kelman. Now, if you don't know Glenn Kelman, join the club. I didn't really either, but he's the CEO of Redfin. And Redfin is a very large real estate company that's national. I believe they're coast to coast. And so I want to highlight a few things because what he's seeing is kind of what I'm seeing, but he says it very, very succinctly with a lot of really great examples. So Glenn Kelman says, look, on March 15th of last year, 2022, they called, meaning Redfin as a company, said the housing market was cresting and crazy demand to be so strong in the midst. Okay. In other words, they saw the housing market as cresting, and cresting meaning it was white hot through 2021 and early 2022 with multiple offers on every home that came on the market and people waiving appraisals, people waiving everything, contingencies of any type, bidding 50,000 above asking, et cetera, et cetera. And he said that's going to change. And it did. And it dipped all the way through November of this year. In December, we started to see a little bit of that coming out. Hang with me if you're wanting to buy a home this year, because it really does apply to strategizing and timing and when to buy. So in this is numbers. We go deep in. You can find this thread. I'll probably post it. I'll post a link below this. Second week of November, the number of people going on their first home tour with Redfin agents was down 33% year over year. From November 2021 to November 2022 was down by a third. And by the third week of January, right now, we are still down, but only by about half that amount. So it's not down by a third, it's down by 20%. So people are coming out and wanting to see homes again, and their showings are picking up, right? The same with the number of offers being made. It was down 35% year over year from November 2021 to November 2022, down by more than a third, but it was only down by 27% in January, year over year. In other words, it's ticking up. It's not going down anymore. It's starting to tick up. Here's where it gets interesting. Okay. What's different about this downturn as opposed to 2008 is that inventory never really rose, right? It rose spectacularly in 07, 08, 09. Not this time. Sure, it rose a little bit. It's up by 12%, but that's roughly half the levels of inventory, half the levels of home for sale as 2016. And so we've got a long way to go to get back to a normal market of 2016. And less than 2% of homeowners, I saw the number yesterday. Anyways, less than 2% of homeowners are underwater on their mortgage compared to over 30% in 2008. And here's the interesting thing. Look at this home in Sarasota, Florida. It went on the market and there were 23 offers. He doesn't say the time frame, but I would imagine in about 48 hours. He had 23 offers for this little thing. I mean, it's a cute house. It's a nice house. I would live in it. It's very comfortable looking, but it's not spectacular. I mean, it's just not. It's an average home, I think, for Sarasota, Florida, and it was listed at $299,900. 23 offers. Similar, they're seeing stuff in Seattle. They're seeing similar stuff. Okay, I like this quote from a Redfin agent, Sashana Godwin. I don't know. Said, some of us saw this coming, but we didn't see how fast. We whiplashed 6 months ago, and now we're whiplashing back. Last month, we're telling clients, take your time. We don't do that anymore. I really like the way she put that. We whiplashed 6 months ago. It just went from white hot to kind of blah, because rates went up so fast. Now, what's going to happen going forward? And now it's coming back just as quickly. What's going to happen? Look, he says, a dearth of homes for sale may be an unintended 30-year consequence of the Fed's low rate binge. right? The Fed kept rates super low for super long, and they were buying mortgage-backed securities to keep mortgage rates super low for super long. And everywhere, move-up buyers with 3% mortgages are deciding to rent out their old place, not sell it, right? Because you can get cash flow in those, and etc. So you can kind of see this. I'll post a link to this thread so you can read the whole thing. It's very interesting. So what do you do with this information? Well, if mortgage rates are going down, and again, I think they're trending down a little bit right now, but between May and probably July, I think we'll see a big drop in rates. What's going to happen? That's the peak of the buying season anyway for housing. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to kind of sort of return to 2021, where it's just difficult to get an offer accepted because there's multiple offers on every home, right? And you have to stand out in some way. You won't be able to ask for closing costs. You might have to waive an appraisal and pay above appraisal, et cetera, et cetera. So the planning that I would suggest is if you're looking at getting into a house, a lot of people wait until spring because of school years, right? They don't want to move during a school year. My suggestion would be see if you can work that one out and buy sooner rather than later. Because rates are up a little bit and they're going down, but that doesn't matter if you can't get the offer accepted. If you get into a home now, we can refinance your home later when it makes sense. We'll take care of that. It's not hard to do because you're already in the home. You already own it, right? And if home prices escalate a lot, then they're going up in value a lot, even easier to refinance and maybe get rid of PMI. I hope that helps for the planning. And if I can help you with a pre-approval today, reach out. I'd love to work with you, and have an awesome Friday.